If I ask you to think of a number between 1 to 10, the first number people would shout out without much thinking is 7. For many people, 7 is considered a lucky number based on spiritual or even cultural reasons. For others, some mathematicians and scientists believe that there are specific properties of the number 7 that make it a bit appealing to people or interesting, attracting, who might not necessarily believe in spiritual things. For example, 7 wonders of the world, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, 7 days in a week, and so on. But more than that, the lucky number 7 is the basis or the foundation of many myths and folklore. Ancient beliefs say that the 7th son of the 7th sun would be fitted with magical powers. The Bible says that God created the world in 6 days and he rested on the 7th day. In Islam, there are 7 heavens and Muslims walk around the Kaaba 7 times. And there are 7 higher worlds and 7 underworlds in Hindu. In Buddhism, the newborn Buddha takes 7 steps. But you get the point. 7 is a very powerful number.
Yeah.
It is also a very powerful number in Langkawi, Malaysia. Legend has it, Langkawi has been cursed for 7 generations, making it prone to disasters and bad luck. And only recently has it broken from the curse because it has passed the 7 generations threshold. The curse had been placed by the most beautiful woman at the time, and now it has finally expired. But why did she place it? Why did she curse the island of Langkawi? Content warning. This video includes description of violence, murder, death, rituals, and other supernatural content. Listener discretion is advised, as some stories may be unsettling or sensitive to certain audiences. Turn down the lights, snuggle up tight, and get ready for another Talk Tale. Welcome guys to another episode of Talk Tale, where we take you across the seas and explore all urban legends from around the world. I'm Afrina, and here's my co-host.
Hi, my name is Diski.
And the story of the day is a tale of a really beautiful princess.
Ooh.
Doesn't it sound like a fairy tale?
Yeah.
But it's more eerie than a fairy tale. So Langkawi, do you know where Langkawi is?
No.
Langkawi is an island. It's in the state of Kedah, but it's located near Phuket, Thailand.
Oh yeah, I know.
So it's very near to Phuket. And because the island is quite close to both Thailand and Malaysia, a lot of tourists and a lot of locals go to Langkawi for holiday or vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, because the island wanted to attract more tourists, the flight tickets there is like 10 ringgit or 25 ringgit.
That's so cheap.
It was really cheap. And that was like, I don't know if it was written or not, but it's just really cheap, right?
Yeah.
And most of Langkawi's attractions, aside from the water activities like jet ski, banana boat, a lot of their attractions come from myth museums. So Langkawi is the house to many urban legends.
Oh, I see.
And one of the famous urban legend is the legend of Mahsuri, our princess of the day. Her tale is so famous that there's actually a place for her. It's called the Mahsuri tomb, and it's where people would visit and they could see her crib where her body is buried. And if you go with like a tour guide, they'll tell you the story of Mahsuri, the origins of Mahsuri. But for those of you who can't travel to see it, don't worry, I'm here to bring the story to you. Now, according to the legend, Mahsuri was a young princess who lived in Langkawi around the 17th century. She was the third daughter of Pandak, the dad, and Ma'yah, the woman. She was a pretty maiden who lived during the reign of Sultan Abdullah Mukarram Shah II. He ruled around 1762 until 1800, so that was when Mahsuri was alive at the time. There are a couple of versions of the story, but I'll just go with the most famous one for now. So Mahsuri's parents were of Thai descendants. They came from Phuket and they went to Langkawi because they wanted to find a better life for themselves and their family. And because her mother was really pretty, so when she was born, she was also really pretty. Mahsuri. And as she grew up, she married a warrior. He was named Wandarus. But after a few years of getting married, he had to leave Langkawi because there was a war going on between Thailand and Malaysia. So he had to fight in the war of Siam. And until here, doesn't the story sound like Menak?
Yeah.
It does, right? Like a beautiful princess.
Do you think this is the same period of time?
Maybe. Maybe it could be.
Or near?
Near. It's probably near. It
Yeah.
sounds a lot like Menak. But that's for another episode.
Yeah.
And the similarities actually ends there. Even though they were only wed for a while, they were just married for a few years, they had to be separated because Wandarus had to go to war and he left her all alone. But during her husband's absence, because she didn't have any friends, she became friends with a man. And that man is named Deraman. She hung out with Deraman a lot. She became friends with him. But because of this, she was accused. Someone came out and accused her of cheating on her husband, of adultery. There are actually a couple of stories about who this person is, whether it is the mayor's wife or if it was Wandarus's mother. But regardless who it was, the story said that she accused her of cheating on her husband because she was jealous of her beauty.
I see.
She was jealous that she was known everywhere, that she was popular. She openly accused her of her adultery. She went around telling people in the village. And rumors in villages spread really fast. I mean, with social media now, rumors even spread fast, right?
Yeah.
Imagine back then.
Yeah, and back then, rumors like this can ruin another person's life, right?
Yeah.
Especially a woman. Woman dignity and reputation is very important.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's only women's reputation, but back in the day, it's a crime
Yeah, it's a crime, and
for
they
a
can
woman.
be put in jail or even punished really harshly
Yep.
because of that.
So it's very dangerous. It's a dangerous crime. By the villagers and leaders, she was sentenced to death
Oh my
for her
god.
adultery. Like, what can you do if you're
Yeah.
accused of a crime and the crime is cheating and you have to give your life up for it? Does it seem fair?
No.
Right?
Is there any evidence of her really cheating on her husband?
I will get to that part. It's
Okay.
juicy. So after she was said to be sentenced to death, she strongly pleaded her innocence. She went around saying, "Please, I don't deserve this. I did not cheat on my husband. I did not commit any adultery. I didn't do this." But nobody believed her. She didn't have anybody on her side. She was given a trial. I don't know if it was a fair trial because at the end of it, she was still sentenced to death. She tried to escape. She did try to run away, but she got caught pretty quickly, which is kind of sad. And then once she was caught by the villagers and the elders and everybody, she was tied to a tree. And that was when the sentencing of her death began. But when they wanted to kill her or like give her the sentence, they tried to stab her multiple times and it didn't work.
She's still alive?
She's still alive.
Oh my god, she must feel really painful.
Yeah. She's begging and finally she said,
Oh.
"Go and take my family's dagger. Kill me with that," is what she said.
Mm.
I don't know why. So the villagers went and ran to her house and got the dagger and it worked. As soon as
Oh.
she was stabbed with the dagger, she passed away. But the blood flowed through the dagger and onto her legs and onto the ground. It wasn't red. It was white. White blood flowed from the wounds and birds started flying around her, covering her body. People believed that it signified that she was actually innocent. Because white...
Oh, yeah, white means innocent.
Yeah,
and
white
pure.
is white is a color of purity.
Yeah.
She didn't commit adultery after all, and actually she stayed faithful to her husband, but nobody believed her.
Oh, poor girl.
Can you imagine though being the husband? Like you
Yeah.
marry the woman of your life and you come back to find her dead, and she didn't even do what they said she did. But her story didn't end there. Before taking her last breath, before dying, she cursed Langkawi and she said, "For this act of injustice, Langkawi shall not be allowed to succeed for 7 generations to come." Taking this story, I wonder if you're like a glass half full or half empty kind of person. Technically, Langkawi was cursed for 7 generations, so 7 is an unlucky number. But after 7 generations, the curse will be lifted. So is 7 a lucky number or an unlucky number?
I think for them, it's more of an unlucky number because those 7 generation have to feel what it feels like to not be successful in whatever they did, in whatever they want.
Yeah. Maybe it's an unlucky number then.
Mhm.
Because it's a curse, technically.
Yeah.
And you can say that her story is very unfair, very tragic.
Yeah.
The whole story with her death and her life is probably because of her bad luck. She was caught with a man and she was accused because she was pretty. The women were jealous of her. But there's actually more to the story. So let's rewind a bit.
Okay.
Let's go decades before she was even born. When Mahsuri was still in her mother's tummy. When her mother, Maya, and her father, Panda, came from Phuket to Langkawi, it was rumored that they had a son. Nobody really knows if it was adoptive son or their biological son. He was around 12 years old. During that time, this 12-year-old boy would help his parents in the field, in the crops. But whenever he tries his best to grow the crops, it would never work. There's no crops. They would just die. And more than that, there was this crow that kept eating the corn. That crow kept eating the corn and he couldn't grow it because the corn kept dying. No matter what he did, the crow kept coming back. It's like so sad.
Poor boy.
It was very unlucky.
Yeah.
One day, an old man came. The old man that people believe was sent by God. And he went to the boy and he said, "Hey, throw a crowbar at the crow." The boy didn't know if it will work or not, but there's so many times where he can't make the crop grow. So he's like, okay, why not? I'll just throw a crowbar at the crow. And when he threw it, the crow didn't die, but the crow turned into gold. And so he went and he took it to his dad, Panda. And Panda was really happy. Instead of the corn, he got gold and he became really rich. But to hide the fact that he became rich in a very weird way, like he didn't do any business or anything, and villagers kept asking him, "Hey, where did you get all this money?" He was scared, so he killed the boy to hide his...
His son? That's so cruel.
Yeah, he killed the boy because he didn't trust that he
my
would not say anything.
He is such a poor boy. I'm so
all he
sad
did
for
was
him.
just help his dad
Yeah.
in the field.
Even though all of his effort.
Yeah, all his effort was just gone.
Yeah. And turns bad.
And this was when Maya was pregnant with Mahsuri. And Pandak, oblivious to what he did, he was like, whatever, I'm rich now. He came back home, entered the bed when his wife was still sleeping, and he heard a whisper coming from his wife's belly. He's listening, his ear is like, what is that whisper? There was a woman's voice saying, "Because of your actions, one day I will be slandered and killed for something I did not commit. Because blood can only be paid by blood." And people think that's Mahsuri saying it to her dad. And not long after that, Mahsuri was born. That is the famous legend of Mahsuri and how it traces back to even the legend of her parents. How her fate was tied. She couldn't escape her destiny. But many people actually believe in the legend of Mahsuri. Mahsuri is very famous. I mean, there's a tomb in Langkawi that people visit, right? And another reason why people believe in Mahsuri is because Langkawi really didn't succeed. Langkawi didn't prosper until 7 generations.
When did it end?
The curse was thought to end around 1900s, around the independence of Malaysia. The bad luck started to happen right after her death. After 1 week of her dying, Wan Darus, the husband, he came back after the war and he's like, "Where's my wife?" And they said, "She died." It's like such a uneventful time for him. And he did have a child with Mahsuri. Wan Darus, after hearing the story of how his wife died, how unfair it was, he took his child, Wan Hakim, and went back to Phuket. He said he didn't want to be in Langkawi anymore after they took his wife.
Yeah.
And right after he left, bad things started happening to the island of Langkawi. Siam soldiers started entering the island and they attacked the villagers. And because the villagers wanted to stop them from entering their villages, they had to burn their fields. Because of that, Langkawi was believed to have been totally destroyed, really badly. And legend has it, until today, after a really pouring rain, people can smell fire. People can smell burning rice. And people can see the traces of burning rice paddies, like the black grain on the fields. And they believe that it serves as a reminder to what happened to Mahsuri. It was only after 7 generations had passed, around the 20th century, 19 something, the independence, that Langkawi actually began to prosper. It actually became successful as an island, as a tourist destination. A lot of people say that the success is because of Mahsuri's curse expiry.
I see why you say that. Whether in your perspective it's a lucky or unlucky number.
Yeah, because now it's really successful. Everyone goes to Langkawi. Also, another interesting point in Mahsuri's story, I mentioned that it was linked to the independence. It is linked to Independence Day. So there was a rumor going on during that time that our first Prime Minister, Tunku Abdul Rahman, who was the district officer for Langkawi at the time, before he became the Prime Minister, he said that she visited him in his dreams. So he started looking for her. But some people don't think that actually happened. Some people actually believe that because he was in Langkawi, the locals just told him the story. Not that she visited him in his dreams. But regardless, he became really interested in the legend of Mahsuri, and he wanted to know what happened to her and where she's buried and all the details. So Tunku initiated an island-wide search for her final resting place. And when he found it, he found her grave. He was really sad to see that it wasn't well taken care of. It was really dirty and it was just a soil. So what he did was he planned for the construction of a modest, really humble, small tomb with white marble, and the headstone was inscribed. When Hainanese contractor, he's called Fer Sing Tong, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce.
Yeah, it's okay.
He was commissioned to do the work for the tomb, but he told Tunku Abdul Rahman that he does not want to receive any cent for his work. He didn't want to be paid because he said that he did it willingly and he wanted to help Mahsuri after her death. To honor her memory. And as soon as the tomb was completed, Tunku Abdul Rahman publicly announced that, hey, Mahsuri's curse is lifted. She's happy now. And then, as if Mahsuri agreed with Tunku's declaration saying that the curse has been lifted, the fortunes of the two people who were building the tomb, they became successful.
Wow.
They had good luck. For example, the contractor who built the tomb for free, the one that didn't want to receive any single cent, he won a huge contract on mainland Kedah and went on to become one of the richest and most successful people in Alam.
Oh yeah? That's really cool.
So people think that because he helped Mahsuri decided to give him something as well. But another version said that the curse actually ended with one Aisha, the 7th generation of Mahsuri. So remember one Darus, the husband? He took his kid to Phuket.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah, so his kid, after 7 generations, one Aisha was born. And it was rumored that the Malaysian government actually went to look for her. And they found her in Phuket, in the island of Phuket. So now Langkawi is bustling. It has lots of hotels, lots of attractions, and it's really nice. There's a lot of beach clubs, bars, restaurants. So a lot of people actually go there to just have fun for 3 days, 4 days. It's just like Phuket.
Have you ever been there?
Yeah, I've been there with my parents.
Oh.
It's a really nice island. Honestly, you should go.
Yeah, I'm really interested to go there now.
But the last time I went, I didn't know about Mahsuri.
Oh.
So I didn't go to the Mahsuri tomb. But now, the next time I go, I'm gonna go there.
Yeah, I'm also interested.
Right? So what do you think of the story? Do you believe in curses?
I think I believe in more of karma. There is an effect of what you do. And for what happened to Langkawi, maybe it's some kind of karma.
Makes sense as well. Like the karma for her dad killing the 12-year-old boy. But then it's sad that Mahsuri had to get the karma. It's not her fault.
But it's also for all the villagers who accused her.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point of view. I think I also agree with that. That karma, whatever you do, you get. Right?
Yeah.
And don't you think it's a tragic way to end your life?
Yeah, it's really cruel, especially we live in this kind of era now, modern era, where cheating and everything happens a lot. It happens to people on the internet, it happens on people close to us. So I know a lot of people who does it and who is the victim of it. But at that time, at that era, it's so forbidden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get killed. So that's all. That's the end of the story. But whether or not you believe Mahsuri is a myth or a real story based on the 7th generation or even karma, as you said, she has definitely impacted the economy for sure. So that's all for today. And if you're someone who loves creepy stories based on legends, just tune in every Thursday of the week.
Okay, bye guys. Thank you for
Bye-bye.
watching.
Thank you.